I don't know about you, but as an adult, even though I love my job and I love my corporate career, I have these conversations with my friends where we sort of talk about like the paths that weren't taken, the kind of sliding doors moments. And one of them that I think about a lot is this moment when I was 18. I had spent all of my GCSEs and actually all of my teenage years on yards on the weekend during my GCSEs and A-levels, and I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want my career to be. And ultimately my life took a different direction and I went off to university to study English, and now I work in marketing. But I always think about what would have happened if I'd gone on to study something in the equine industry. And I think there are a lot of people out there who feel the same as me, or people who are watching this and are at that point in their lives where they're making the choice about what to study. And so, to satisfy my own curiosity, to be honest, but also hopefully to provide a really interesting piece of content for you, I have come to Bishop Burton College in East Yorkshire to learn a lot more about what it would be like to study at an equine college and equine university courses at one of the best places in the country. So today I'm meeting some of the best people in this industry. I'm going to have a lesson, I'm going to go for a hack around the grounds, I'm going to speak to fitness experts and experts in the rehab space, and I really hope that you find it super interesting. So without further ado, let's get into it. Coming up in today's video, we have an entire tour of Bishop Burton College. It is a huge campus with 6 arenas, many elements to the yard. We'll also be hearing from a few of the people that work at Bishop Burton, seeing a water treadmill demo. I get to go for a hack on a horse around the grounds, which were much bigger than I expected. And we even get to see a little bit of point of view GoPro footage, though not me riding, I hasten to add. So let's get straight into it. Before we dive into the tour, I asked one of the lecturers what it actually means to study equine at degree and university level. I certainly have been guilty of thinking about equine study, but not necessarily thinking that you could study at degree level unless you were going into like veterinary science. So talk to me a little bit about the range of degrees that you can do that are equine related.
Yeah, so to start off with, we offer 2 foundation degrees in applied equine management, and they are more hands-on, and you can take either a coaching or a therapy pathway, so you do a lot more practical work within those degrees. For the Bachelor of Sciences, the BScs, we do equine science, we're doing equine business, equine sports science and coaching, and equine therapy and rehabilitation.
When we think about like a quote-unquote traditional degree, we think about like essays and libraries and late nights. What does an equine degree look like?
What we do through all of them, whichever one you would study, is we have the theory there, so there is some classroom work, and then we try and put that theory into practice as much as we possibly can. So for example, a module I teach at level 5, which pretty much all programmes study, is equine behaviour and welfare. So we will do the theory on equine learning theory, how it works and that kind of thing, and then we go out onto the yard and actually go and train horses based on those theories, based on your 4 quadrants, your positive reinforcement, things like that.
One of the things that impressed me the most when I started talking to Bishop Burton College about this video was the number of arenas on their website. They have 6 all over the campus, so we're going to count them for you now.
I'm Robin, I'm the Equine Director at Bishop Burton College and our sister college Rise Home, and I'm about to show you the BBA, which is the Bishop Burton Arena. Something that's worth noting is that all around the campus we have a lot of space here. Every location on campus has got emergency sheets which show the location you're in, the what 3 words location, our address, our ambulance procedure, who you need to phone if you're having a drama, which just I think makes people feel a little bit safer when they're coming for an event, staying overnight, here with a tricky horse. So you will see those everywhere you go on campus.
Absolutely humongous arena.
The thing I love most about this arena is when we have dressage in here and we build a 60 by 20 and there's loads of room either side. The judge looks like a little pea in the distance.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So this is our main BBA, Bishop Burton Arena. It's kind of the hub of the Equine Centre. Up there underneath the sign we have got the Equine Lounge where we can hold functions, we can entertain VIPs. We've got a huge gallery with seating for 500, a judge's box with an excellent PA system, and then this whole side of the arena is classrooms. So something that's really lovely is we can sometimes have a dressage competition or show jumping in this arena, and we've got students working in the classrooms able to kind of glance out and see horses working in the arena. So yeah, it's a pretty impressive space.
Arena 2, which is this lovely indoor here, which also has a cafe and a viewing area. And even when the cafe is closed, I have it on good authority that the vending machines mean that the students can still come in and watch whoever's riding in here. So it just feels like around this campus there are constant opportunities for openness and transparency for the students to learn as much as possible no matter what is going on, which is very cool. This is Arena 3, otherwise known as the Championship Arena, where dressage was taking place the day before I filmed this for the International Youth Championships. Wow.
Notice the horse ball goals.
Yeah. Are you still counting? We're on Arena 5, which is down by the cross country, which you'll see more of later on in this video. And finally, Arena 6, the International Arena. Bishop Burton has so much more to offer than just their 6 arenas, so let's get into the rest of the yard tour with Robin to take a look around.
So this is the academic side of BBA. So we'll take you up and show you our classroom.
Lovely. I'm about 5 minutes away from packing a suitcase and coming up here to be a student, so I think it's really important that I understand all of the classrooms I'll be spending my time in.
Yeah, you'd be very welcome. So obviously we're on the opposite side of the gallery now. We've got an event running at the moment. We've got the International Youth Championships at the moment. And this is the snack hub for all the officials. Most important room.
What's really nice is that you can, what you were saying earlier about students being in here studying whilst you've potentially got people riding as well. That's really nice.
So I'm really hot on staff having lessons. So we have a staff lesson every Wednesday, and the staff getting involved riding the horses so that we understand what the students are feeling, we can help bring the horses on. And I love when you've got students in here and the staff are out there riding. And I know when I was learning and kind of first starting out my journey with horses, I would have loved to have seen the people that I respected riding without them knowing I was watching.
Yes.
So that sneaky little, oh, Monica's amazing at canter is really useful, because it shows all of our staff are exceptional at what they do, and they've all got interesting, very different specialisms. Just lovely for the students to be able to glance out and see what everybody can do. So.
Hello, my name is Monica Shepherd. I'm a higher education equine lecturer here at the University Centre, Bishop Burton.
I would love to know, what does like a day in the life of one of your students look like?
It's a variation between practical and theoretical topics. They might have some days that are more theoretically based, so more classroom based, and there might be more when they're sort of out and about. The students are in and out of the classrooms. They will have some sessions that are more lecture based, so the tutor sharing the knowledge, and then there'll be some more sort of seminar sessions where they're finding out more information for themselves. They'll be looking into different research, different journals, finding things out. We have, of course, written assignments and exams. You can't get away from that at a degree. But we'll also have assessments where they are riding, where they're coaching.
So this is EPU, the Equine Practical Unit. This is a really, really useful space in the department, because obviously we've got lots of students learning about bandaging, clipping, plaiting, all of that sort of stuff. And we need a space to do that isn't a stable, because it will get rather squashed. We also quite like the horses to have their own time in their stables. So their stables are their bedrooms. They get left alone. That's their peaceful space. So we can faff with them in here. So we have bays down here where we can cross-tie horses. We've got light. We're out of the weather. Horses are safe. We put the chains across the front when the horses are in here. And it just means there's lots of space. A lecturer can stand here and have an overview of the lesson. We've got our locker room for students to keep their belongings in, and our tack store here. The bulletin board, so this is where the ride list goes up every day, so students will come here to see who they're riding, who they've got for the day. It's just such a useful space. We've got our weighbridge in here. This is where the farrier comes to work, so he's out of the weather. It's just such a useful space. It gets used for so much.
So next up, I've come to the Sports and Fitness Centre to meet John, who is a sports operative. Hey John.
Hello there.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's okay.
I'm really excited to have a look round.
Yeah, if I give you a tour of the facility.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
The sports hall first.
Cool. How long have you worked here for?
About 10 months now.
So, nice.
Yeah, I've worked in leisure for 44 years. So
wow.
It's quite a time.
Yeah.
Within that time, it's quite varied. You know, I've worked with lots of students and sports people, in various disciplines.
Yeah.
So this is the sports hall over here.
Thank you. Oh wow.
Yeah, nice observation area. And this area here we've got 4 badminton courts. But generally we get 5-a-side football, netball playing in here, basketball sometimes. But we're looking to put on like circuit training classes, fitness classes, general fitness classes in here. If you'd like to follow me to the dance studio.
Yeah, sure. This is very cool. I imagine if you're studying an equine course here, it's nice to have a bit of variation in your fitness as well, so you're not just on the horse all the time.
Yeah, that's right.
You're focusing on other things.
Yeah, some people don't like to use the gym. They like to just do a fitness class.
Yeah.
So as you can imagine, a big class actually in there in the sports hall. This is a smaller area.
Yeah.
Here. It's a little cosier in here. So
Oh,
we have dance
nice.
classes in here and circuit classes, aerobics.
I mean, we always hear about it as equestrians to do more Pilates and yoga. Do you do any of those sorts of things here?
Yeah, we have yoga here as well, sorry.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a very good, stretching
Yeah.
is a very good part of your training program. I mean, if you could do that every day, that obviously that's going to relieve any form of injuries that you're going to get. And also, it's what I find with yoga is a good mental thing as well. It calms you
Yeah,
down.
100%. Lovely.
So I'll take you through now to the fitness studio.
Thank you. We've got so lucky coming through here today because obviously all the students are on their holidays, so it's nice and quiet.
That's right, yeah. This morning we've only got one football match on, but normally on a Sunday it's very, very busy with gymnastics. The football's on, then the students coming in to actually train.
Yeah.
We get Hull City here, we get the academy players, the rugby players, the netballers, equestrian as well coming down.
The room of doom, shouldn't call it that really.
Yeah, it depends on your perspective, but
Yeah.
a lot of people are very apprehensive when they come into the gym. It can be intimidating because if you've got 6'5" rugby players in here, you've got a group of footballers all training. Everybody knows exactly seem to know what they're doing. And then it's the first time you actually come in here. What I do and the other instructors is put you through a induction session. So you can come in, feel comfortable. We make you feel comfortable on the equipment. We show you all the equipment. So you can use it safely and also effectively.
So this is our rider fitness and performance suite. This is an equine specific gym. We have several gyms on site, but this one is perfect for our academy riders, our equine students to just come and do a little bit of a top up. We do interval training in here, and obviously we have the lovely Horatio and Bertie for some more equine specific exercise.
What a pair of good boys.
They're very good boys.
And you were mentioning to me earlier that it is mandatory for your academy students.
I envision our academy students being the greats of tomorrow, those sort of riders that our next generation of students will talk about in hushed tones and say, did you know so-and-so went to Bishop Burton? And so part of that, and what is so important when you're riding, all of us need to recognise our fitness and the impact that we can have on the horse. I'm a bit crooked, I'm a horse person, we've all been broken at some point, we've all been trodden on and squished and fallen off. And I really notice if I'm not keeping up with the gym, with massage, because my horses start to get crooked themselves, I start to impact them, I see muscle wastage on one side. So it's really important to us that we're looking after our riders. How much money as horse people do we spend on our horses' fitness, physios, chiropractors, dentists, saddle fitters, all of that kind of stuff? We never do that for ourselves. So it's really important if we're creating and helping to foster the next generation of great riders and great equestrians for the industry, we need them to know that it's important to look after their bodies so that they're not like me with arthritis in their 30s. So this is Therapy 1. This is our equine spa, Solarium and Stocks. And what's really lovely in here is that we have the gallery for the equine lounge. So if you're having a dinner up there and something happens to be in the spa, you can lean over the wall and watch. So the therapy centre is open for commercial clients, which I think is amazing because not only do our college horses benefit hugely from all these incredible facilities that we've got, but we have our students working with external commercial horses, we take on rehabs, so we take horses from the vet for rehabilitation livery, but also we've got our students working with 4-star and 5-star event horses on the treadmill in the spa, learning about their fitness journey or rehab after a particularly difficult event. I mean, where else in the world would you, as a student, get access to all this kind of stuff? It's incredible. And our horses are so lucky that we've got, I think we can keep them going for a lot longer, potentially, than a lot of other places, because they are all quite spoiled. And they do all get their time on the spa or the treadmill. In the winter they get to stand under the solarium. Chunky, particularly, Chunky is a Bishop Burton favourite. He's famous the world over. Chunky loves the solarium.
Since we're in the rehab portion of the video, we are going to do a deep dive on the water treadmill. So we're going to hear what the water treadmill is and why we might use it for certain horses, as well as seeing a demo and seeing how you actually introduce a horse to the water treadmill. Let's dive in.
Hi, I am Rebecca Brassington. I'm the Higher Education Academic Lead for Equine at the University Centre Bishop Burton, and we are really fortunate that a lot of our students, while studying on their degree programme, get to utilise our Equine Commercial Therapy Centre. So anybody studying on the therapy and rehab degree programmes really get hands-on experience. They have a sequence of work experience opportunities with our therapy centre lead, and that gives them a chance to see a range of horses working and how we can use water effectively in order to try and meet different rehabilitation needs, different training needs, or different fitness-based needs. The students can use the water treadmill in research. I myself have done some preliminary research a few years ago now, linked with Nottingham Trent University, where we looked at things like acceleration and attenuation at different belt speeds. So it's really given us an informed approach, and the students get to understand the science of why we may be using water and devices in certain ways and what benefit that can bring to the individual horse.
I've come over to the water treadmill with Rion, Freya and Colorado to learn a little bit about this mare and about how a water treadmill actually works. Hi Rion. You're stood here with lovely Colorado. Can you tell me a little bit about her?
Okay, so she came to us about 2 years ago from the RSPCA, and she joined the college. She had come from a background of kind of like driving work. So for us as kind of students and for staff, it was trying to get her integrated into the college lifestyle. So getting her used to doing things like groundwork, so lunging and long reining, and getting her used to things like this on the water treadmill, and then from a ridden aspect. And a lot of it is getting them used to having time with the students, because it's a very different environment here. It can be quite busy at times, but she's taken it all in stride really well, and now she's kind of a horse that we can do a lot of different things with.
A quick note before we dive into the water treadmill itself. You will notice that Colorado here is in a head collar, and this is decided on an individual basis for each horse. All new horses are worked in bridles for the first few sessions, and if they're seen to be more comfortable in a head collar, they will then continue on in a head collar once they've been assessed.
So just in the starting process of kind of getting her used to the water treadmill, she's been on a few times before, but we kind of keep the routine the same. So we'd walk them through a few times, practice just getting them standing kind of like still in the treadmill, and then we'll introduce a bit of noise. So Freya will kind of hold and move the back doors, and they'll creak a bit. And then we'll stop her in, shut it, and then we'll go and begin, and we'll have a bit of a warm up on the dry belt, add a bit of water so she gets used to the splashing, and then we'll kind of work it up to the fetlock and do the full kind of process there. So we've got Colorado on the dry belt, and we've just got her walking. So it's similar to if we were riding her, we want to kind of 4 beats to the walk with a slight nod in her head, and just comfortable and relaxed really. We want a balance, so I'd be looking to make sure she's not kind of wobbling to either side of the treadmill, and she's not kind of falling back or fatiguing. We want to keep her as comfortable as possible, but still working properly on the treadmill. And in about a minute or so, I'll start to add water to kind of splash, and that's just to keep her used to it and keep her in a normal routine.
So you were telling me earlier that one of the really nice things about the water treadmill at Bishop Burton College is that you have commercial clients and you have your school horses, and usually it's sort of one or the other. So talk to me a little bit more about that.
Yes, of course, yeah. All of our school horses, if it's appropriate for them, if it's something that's going to complement the work they do within the college, they get experience on the water treadmill, and the students get to be really hands-on with exercising these horses. And of course, horses feel different every day, they come out different every day, so it's really about judging how that horse is on the day, how it's looking, and suiting the programme to suit their needs. But those students doing work experience really then get to see other horses, lots of different types that come to our commercial therapy centre. So they may be fully fit horses wanting a different sort of enrichment to their training programme. They may be horses that have had a veterinary referral, maybe had an injury, the pain's now gone, but maybe they're left with an asymmetry or an imbalance, and it's a way then of trying to use that water to try and help that horse go back to its optimal movement and optimal performance. So they really get to see lots of different disciplines that horses train in order to work them in different ways.
Now we're heading outside with Robin to see some of the Parkland and cross-country course at Bishop Burton, and I was incredibly lucky that as we were planning to go down there, I happened to bump into one of the yard staff, Nick, who was about to take his mare cross-country schooling. He agreed to let us film some of his content as well as wearing a GoPro so that you can see the Parkland firsthand.
We're out on our cross-country course now. This is Jackson's Park. We've got a lot of Parkland, and my favourite thing about it is the turf. This is old turf. Parkland was designed by Capability Brown's biggest rival, and you would not believe the fact that this year, last week, we had to aerovate this because it was too dry after one of the wettest winter summers we've had. It just can hold so much water, which means that we're fortunate to be able to use it and run events when everyone else is being rained off. The Parkland is beautiful. We're famous for our undulating Parkland and the hills here, and the course looping up through these old woods. And from here you can also see a couple of my favourite fields that we use for turnout for the college horses. So we've got the dairy here and Palouse in the background. The dairy is fabulous. We've got some really big, beautiful trees in there, so the horses get to stand underneath them, shelter from the wind and rain, stand out of the sun, and just be horses. That's the biggest thing here, is the horses are the most important thing. Horses and students are the two biggest things here, and if we don't have happy, well cared for, loved horses, they can't do their jobs to ensure that our students get the best. So our horses are turned out in herds. They get a lot of turnout. I know that the little bit of a kind of old feeling towards colleges is that we don't turn our horses out and they live inside all the time. Our horses are out a lot, every day, without fail. And I think it's really important that they get time out, away from their boxes, just being horses, scratching each other, galloping around, being silly, having a roll, getting filthy. That's part of being a horse. So especially at the moment, I think social licensing is really key. People are really looking at and scrutinising our industry, and I think it's important that we demonstrate that our horses are so important and so precious to us, and they need to be allowed to be horses and be outside and clonk around and have fun in the field.
Now, when Robin and I were talking about me visiting Bishop Burton, she was like, why don't you come and have a hack and you can ride around the grounds on horseback as well? And I was thinking, cool, it'll probably be like a couple of miles around the stables. I couldn't have been more wrong. I wore a GoPro with lovely Jess, who took me out with her, and it was quite the experience, so let's have a look. So I was taken out on a mare called Kizzy by lovely senior yard assistant Jess. We both wore GoPros, and so I'm going to show you some of the things that we got up to. We turned our GoPros on just as we kind of got out past the cross-country fields and all the fields of horses who were turned out, so we could have a canter up this little track. And I am not embarrassed, a little bit embarrassed to admit that I was a little bit nervous. It had been such a long time since I've had a canter on a horse, really. You know, I've had a couple of lessons now, but Woody was out of action for a year, and even when he came back into work, we were only walking. So, you know, I felt a little bit nervous, but Jess was amazing, and Kizzy looked after me so well. It was so incredibly windy that I don't think you'll be able to hear any of the conversation that Jess and I had, but I can remember a lot of it, so I will recall that for you. The other very cool thing that Jess told me during this ride was that despite the fact that we rode for miles and miles, we never left Bishop Burton land, and just as with the arenas that you saw earlier, every single part of this land has a what three words. So she said it made her and students feel much more comfortable about hacking out alone because they know they can always get in touch with someone and tell them exactly where they are if they need to. So as we were walking around the perimeter, all that you can see here is all of the arable land that Jess is pointing out. She's actually pointing out the perimeter of the land, which is miles and miles and acres and acres. One of the fun facts about Bishop Burton is that actually the farm itself, even without all of the students, would be a viable commercial farm because of the amount of crops that they grow and sell, which was super cool. So whilst we were walking, Jess also told me that she also worked for Gemma Tattersall before she came to Bishop Burton, and one of the other yard assistants or yard team also came from the Whitakers. So it just kind of made me think that this place must be really, really special for people to want to come from these amazing places, and there's just so many experts that I've had the pleasure of talking to whilst I've been here. So we did this huge loop around all of the arable farming area, back down past the fields where the horses were turned out, past the cross country, past one of the outdoor arenas, and that outdoor arena on the left that you can see there is actually the international arena where the show jumping for the International Youth Championships was taking place the day before. And what Jess is taking me to see is that they actually have this whole strip of woodland which has these cross-country jumps in it next to the international arena as well. And there's actually a jump towards the end of the international arena that you can like jump out of the arena and onto the cross-country, which was really, really cool.
Yeah, so this is one of the banks.
Oh, cute!
So about a month ago when they're all in work, we took some of the newer horses down the bank, which was sweet. Obviously that bit's a bit broken, but yeah, down this bit. And there's where that generator is, there's a bigger bank, so you can choose to do the littler one or the bigger one. There's a trachena there that's quite new.
Oh, this is so nice.
Yeah.
And it's all sheltered in woodland.
Yeah, it's lovely actually. And then straight ahead, this log here is a log, then a coffin. All right, good boy. Good lad. It's really cool to introduce horses that haven't done cross country as well. So there's a log, coffin log there. And there's some more around the corner. But it's quite a nice mixture. There's some little ones and there's some bigger ones.
So out of the way as well, like you could genuinely have a whole competition going on and still be able to jump down here.
So yeah, you go through the water, around that little, there's a circle, it just comes back on you basically. You gonna come in, Kizzy, or are you? It's quite clear. Yeah, you can't drink from it. Good girl. Come on. Good boy. Yay! Yeah, so you come round here and then you just loop back on yourself really. There's some more jumps in this little tree bit here. It's really cute. This is Lucy, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I'm taking Tallulah out.
Oh.
I think it's on now, you're on GoPro.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, I hope you enjoyed your hack.
Thank you so much.
You were really good with that.
She is a good girl.
She was just a bit tense at the beginning, wasn't she?
Yeah. I think
She has been dragged in out of the field.
And also that was me, because I was a bit like, oh, I'm sorry, oh my god, how do I ride? She was
Just calmed right down now.
Yeah, she was really good. Thank you, honey bunny. After finishing the ride on Kizzy, I headed back up to the yard to meet Robin to finish off the last part of our tour of Bishop Burton College.
This is York Yard. This is the main college yard, so our college horses live in here. We've got about 50 stables in here, 3 tack rooms and a feed room. We've got a wash area at the bottom and access both ends of the yard for safety. It's a really, really lovely yard and nice for students to be working inside. So this is where our students do their duties. Each equine student has duties that they have to fulfill as part of their courses. So they come in and help the yard staff muck out and groom and get the horses ready for the day. So this is a lovely yard to work on. It's been thought out very well by somebody that's obviously worked in the industry. And we're indoors.
Well, that is it for part 1 of my visit to Bishop Burton College. In part 2, I'll actually be having a lesson on one of the college's horses with one of their coaches, Kira. In this lesson, not only will you get to see me riding for the first time in a long time, but we will also get to learn how people who are being trained to be professionals in the equine industry are learning and being taught to ask slightly different questions when they're riding new horses for the first time to prepare them for their new occupation. Stay tuned for that as it'll be coming up soon on my channel. Bye for now.